now. The Business Buzz, an insightful and fresh take on a variety of issues that impact the local business environment. This is where we address the business topics that matter. Here's your host, Sabrina Turner.
Good morning, Cayman, and Happy New Year. I'm your host, Sabrina Turner, and it's time for the Business Buzz that is proudly sponsored by Cayman Medical Supplies. Give them a call, 949-6211. Cayman Insurance Center, celebrating 45 years in the Cayman Islands, specializing in property, life, and other lines of insurance products and services. It is my pleasure to be back for the beginning of a new decade. I am so excited. Great things. I know many of us have made New Year's resolutions, and many of us who are probably fighting that terrible flu or just trying to recover or to just deal with the loss of a loved one or friend or a family. That's been so much that have struck our island for 2019 and even entering this new decade of 2020. Our thoughts here, all your friends at Radio Cayman and the Business Buzz especially, send our prayers and hopes for each and every one of you. It is my pleasure to put the spotlight and hear more as of my first guest on this edition of the Business Buzz and hear more from the Caymanian Times. Mr. Ralph Lewis, owner and publisher of Caymanian Times, as we revisit big stories of 2019, and we'll dabble into a little bit of what is forecasted for headlining stories he may feel for 2020. Good morning and Happy New Year to you, Mr. Lewis. It's a pleasure to have you back.
Hey, good morning, Sabrina. It's great to be here, and Happy New Year to Susan and the crew as well.
You are our saving grace, and thank you so much. It's always a pleasure. You're easy talk, and why not have somebody in news? You should be well-rounded in everything.
I know. I try. But it's time for the times.
Exactly. Time for the times. What has been your New Year's resolution? I mean, there's so much going on. I just got to go there with you.
Oh, wow. My New Year's resolution is to try and lose some weight, save some money, and to build a close relationship with God.
Oh, excellent. Well, mine is quite simple. Getting to know me. When you know yourself, you can deal with everybody else. Very simple.
Yes, it is.
Getting to know me. Well, that's good to know. Well, let's hear more about Caymanian Times and tell us a little bit about how the Caymanian Times has grown over time and, lessons learned. There's so much to talk about, but you have grown. You continue to grow. You're like that when you're in the gym and you're doing that bouncing bag and it keeps coming up at you. You can't keep you down.
Well, we are in our 7th year, and I know you know where we came from, and I'm thankful for the buzz to keep me on. From time to time as we watch the progress, but it has been a life lesson. And, years ago I used to counsel about business, and then I started to get into business myself, and I'm my biggest student. But the good thing is that I'm seeing the rewards of the work and what we put in together, and we have come a long way. We are at the pinnacle now of where we wanted to go. With newspaper, that is, and we have some exciting news happening in a couple of weeks, which we'll talk about later.
Definitely. And for those of you just joining us again, this is Radio Cayman's Business Buzz. I am your host, Sabrina Turner. Yes, back at this new decade. And our topic today, and we focus on Caymanian Times newspaper, is the formation of the Caymanian Times. Caymanian Times local news that dominated for 2019 and used to look out for in 2020. As we know, there is a new announcement. There's always new things coming up with the Caymanian Times. And how to stay up to date, again, with the Caymanian Times. But jumping straight into the meat of things, we know that you are in the midst of everything and just making sure that the information gets out there to the local with your newspaper. What are some of the big local stories that your newspaper, Caymanian Times, covered for 2019, and pretty much what really stood out?
Well, as you know, we decided to create a model and a platform that was different to traditional newspapers. And we wanted to focus on the people of the Cayman Islands, particularly the youth, and also the positive stories and the achievements of our people. Because what I found in the news media, a lot in the past was that there was so much negative stuff. What is going bad and what's not working and so on. So we decided to change the model a bit, and we decided to promote positivity. That sort of caught on because we see a lot more media now embracing that sort of model, which is a good balance. So we decided to focus last year on, upbuilding our youth. And a number of topics that we covered, which I was so proud to be part of, is the Passport to Success stories. When I look at young people who weren't able to go to school, go to university, who had to have a family at a younger age, and were now going to that program and graduating, that sort of put goosebumps on me. And this shows what we are capable of. I personally didn't go to university, but I became a bank manager. Now I have a successful company. Just shows that you can do anything in life that you want to put if you want to really do it. And so these people, those young people, achieving those graduations or passing those exams and graduating at the Passport to Success program really was something we wanted to cover, and we enjoyed it. Also on the Hall of Fame, there was some youth inductees, which we were proud to write about. And so you can see the direction that we were going. Also, we believe that we are here to teach. And the focus for this new year is about teaching and education. But you cannot go forward if you don't know where you came from.
Exactly.
So we started producing a series of Then and Now. And that really was something that I appreciated, because I didn't know a lot about what happened in Cayman Islands. And so when we started doing the different topics of Then and Now, it's amazing what you have learned, and you do see the comparisons to today. And so that was a series that we started, which we're going to continue again. But that was something that we were able to educate the public on what happened. And those were the kind of topics that we found stood out. Of course, the royal family made a visit. Prince Charles, that was.
Yes.
They're having some tough times, otherwise. But, that's something that we had to cover. And there were some beautiful photos when they arrived. And I think that Cayman will always remember Prince Charles' visit last year. And those 4 things that just jumped out at us.
Right. Now, what type of news in 2019 was in demand from your readers? Was there anything that stood out that the people just wanted more of?
Well, as I mentioned,
besides
of course.
Trump.
Well, that's on my list.
I had to put it in there.
We don't live in isolation.
Yes.
This is a global village. And so many things are happening around us, particularly going forward, is going to impact what we do here. And we're going to be taking examples and following patterns that happen outside of Cayman Islands. When we see those people in China, in Hong Kong, those mass protests happening around the world, watch out. Because when people feel disenfranchised, when the young people don't get the opportunity to excel and to achieve goals that others have achieved, when young people see Ralph Lauren's being successful at a business today and they can't get there.
Your own children are seeing you succeeding, and it's almost impossible for them to reach.
And when they can't afford to get a home, that's what we grew up in, we're going to see some challenges. So therefore, what we want to do is sort of expose those sort of challenges and encourage people that, you can achieve them, and show them the ways to do it. Of course, we'll be covering Brexit. That's going to be a big thing coming up very soon. Now we know what happened in Iran. That's going to impact the world. The gentleman or the person here who was taken out, according to other people, maybe not a gentleman in other people's minds, but he was a significant player in the world. And so therefore, what's going to happen? And
for nothing good.
And the main media is really talking about what's going to happen.
The implications from that.
Yeah. Gas prices going to go up. All this is going to happen. So we have to look at that. And then right across the border, right across the water, there's America. Yeah. Donald Trump is going to go to impeachment. And then, of course, there's elections
coming up
for the U.S. And right behind it is the Cayman elections. And we believe, and we can't forget about the referendum on the port. That's going to be central for the next couple of months. But that is going to be the start of the next election. Yeah. And I'm sure that you'll see some campaigning carrying through. So a lot is going to be happening in the next 6 to 12 months, which includes not only our local referendum, the future elections, but also what's happening next door and around the world.
It almost feels that, with the power of social media and you have so much streams that you can get not only local news, but global, international. It's every smart device, you just need to Google the right thing and it's right there. The people almost feel stifled, suffocated. You're trying to sort it out. And then you look at your own front step and you're like, oh my gosh, this is what I'm dealing with here.
Yes.
How do people, I wouldn't say declutter, but more prioritize? Do you get yourself sucked in to what's going on international, understanding that it's important to know what's going on in the world around us? But when you look at charity beginning at home,
Yes.
it's hard to strike that balance.
I agree. And this is where Caymanian Times walks into the room. We need to find a source where you can get honest opinions, straight news, get away from the clutter, all distractions. And this is the year for newspaper. We've been saying the last couple of months and years, newspaper's going to come back. And of course, social media is great, but it's too big.
Exactly.
And so if you want to pick up a newspaper, pick up a media, to just get the real story that you want to tune into is hard. So we have decided to create a model that caters to most people. And so therefore, you can know that when you pick up the newspaper, you're going to be reading about certain things that you have and that you like and that cater to your life or that you're in touch with. And that's how we look at newspaper going forward.
There we go. Options and choices is never too much of them. But you know what? To each his own. You're in tune to Radio Cayman Business Buzz, keeping the spotlight and hearing more from Mr. Ralph Lewis of the Caymanian Times newspaper. We'll got to pay some bills, so we'll be right back.
I'm Michael Webster.
And I'm Denise Brown of Cayman Insurance Center.
Family is not the most important thing, it's everything.
And for 45 years, we have worked with the community and their families on protecting themselves for the future.
Whether it's providing top-rated life insurance
or protecting your family's household investment.
From our family to yours, we understand and we care.
I'm Denise Brown. Call me at 814-7229.
And I'm Michael Webster at 925-5433.
We are Cayman Insurance Center,
specializing in property, life, and other lines of insurance products and services at an affordable rate. We are Michael and
Denise at Cayman Insurance Center.
Call today.
The Cayman Islands boasts of a long, colorful, and rich history. In tribute to our roots, Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, is pleased to bring you the Historical Vignette Series, sponsored by Cayman National Bank. Visit Cayman National Bank today for all of your financial needs. The Cayman Islands, he hath founded it upon the seas.
During the 1960s, a Mr. Ulrich McNamee came to Grand Cayman from Jamaica to work as a schoolteacher. After recognizing the need for an agriculture society, he set about starting one. Mr. McNamee, along with 10 Caymanians, attended the agriculture show in Jamaica. The group was treated well by the Jamaicans and were able to learn much, including seeing the stores where excess produce were stored and the benefits of their agriculture show. After returning home from the Jamaican Agriculture Show, Mr. McNamee, along with 15 Caymanians, started to meet on a monthly basis at the courthouse near Hogstye Bay. The meetings were held to discuss the growth of local produce and create the rules and regulations upon which the Cayman Islands Agriculture Society would be born.
Information from this historical vignette was sourced courtesy of Mr. Charles Lindbergh Eden, The History of Agriculture, 50th Annual Agriculture Show magazine.
Radio Cayman's historical facts vignettes are proudly brought to you by Cayman National, with branches on all 3 Cayman Islands. Visit Cayman National Bank today for all of your financial needs.
Welcome back to the Business Buzz, the business topics that matter, an insightful and fresh take on a variety of issues that impact the local business environment. Business Buzz.
Welcome back to the Business Buzz right here on Radio Cayman. It is proudly sponsored by Cayman Medical Supplies and Cayman Insurance Center. As I keep the spotlight and hear more about the Caymanian Times newspaper with Mr. Ralph Lewis, owner and publisher, as we revisit big news for 2019 and pretty much what is forecasted that will be headlining stories for 2020. Without further ado, I want to know exactly what were the underreported news in your opinion? Because it seemed like, be it the last part of 2019, everything was pro or against port.
Yes.
And then you had the same-sex unions,
Yeah,
which
right.
is definitely come straight over with us for 2020.
Right. I will speak for my paper, I take corrections very well. I take criticism, and there's some stories that we didn't cover enough, and one of those types of stories was local sports. We have sport activists, we have students, we have young people,
Yes.
we have adults who spend a lot of time in the sport of their choice. But we don't promote it enough. We had a lot of football competitions recently.
Netball as well. The
CONCACAF,
ladies did very
netballs.
well. Very well.
So there's a lot of sport that we did not cover well.
Mm-hmm.
We've made amends. I have someone flying in.
Thank God.
He's the sports before in Cayman for another newspaper. People probably know him. And he's flying in the end of this month to look at what we can do about that.
Excellent.
And because I think sports is so important to a local community.
Mm-hmm.
And some of my readers said, Ralph, where's your sport? You cover the overseas one, but not local. And we do have local, not enough as we that we should expect, but there are talent here that we need to cover.
Right.
And if we promote that enough, we probably get some more interest, not only
Mm-hmm.
from other younger people or the community, because we need to support our sports
Exactly.
a lot more.
Do you feel that the young people, obviously with some of the hot topics of 2019 latter part, that the young people need to have more of a voice, need to feel more inclusive? It's not like, oh, you're younger, you're 18, you need to be behind, leave it to the bigger or the grown folks. Do you feel that they need another medium? You hear so much. You see what they can do on social media. There's huge talks. For those of you who don't know about the dark web, go and research what
Yes.
that is. They have their own ways of communicating. It doesn't necessarily be in forums such as this, but they have their ways of communicating that some of us are just totally in the dark to.
And you're so right. They have so much to say. They're the future, by the way.
Exactly.
There are not enough forums for our young people to be heard.
Not enough.
And to be mixed with adults.
Exactly.
We need to have those forums where you have those young people coming around us and talk to us without feeling intimidated.
Or
And that's
talk
what-
down
a
to,
talk
or
down to.
that what their
Yes.
contribution is not valid.
That's right. Because they said, okay, yes, you're experienced, I'm not. But they have something to say. And so if we create an environment where young people feel that they can talk, it's like in a home. Don't talk to daddy that way.
Yes.
But I had to learn to guys, let me hear what you have to say. I encouraged them to talk. And they said, can I say this? And then they realized that, yes, I can talk to daddy, all right. But we come from a culture where you sit in the corner, I'm the boss of the house, you can't say things, I'm the one who's going to make the decisions. So if you're a child and you know that your parents are always going to make the decisions, you say, no, just keep quiet and do what they say. No, we need to encourage them to be a part of it. And I remember my days when I used to talk about financial budgeting, and I always said that the father and the mother should not be the ones alone setting the budget. Get the kids involved with budgeting because they're going to spend some of the money too. So get them involved in the process and they'll buy into it. So that's what we're trying to talk about. Have the kids involved in conversations where they don't feel intimidated and they're encouraged to come and say what they have to say and open up. And that'll take some time, but it has to start somewhere.
But there's also a fine line where there's respect.
Of
You
course.
and I, as a child and a father, or,
Yes.
or a daughter and a father, there's mutual respect when you're welcome and you're
Yes.
entertained around the table. There's no condescending, no attitude, no chip on the shoulder. It's let's meet each other 100%, 100%.
And you must always respect your elders.
Exactly.
They were here before you. And I was saying the other day, if my parents didn't have me, I wouldn't be here today.
Huh. There's a reason for that pause. Share some details about the various sections featured within the pages of Caymanian Times.
Well, we have, if I may, I'd like to break the news now. On the 20th of January, 2020, we'll be launching our paper 5 days a week.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Despite you saying, no, it's not going to happen the last time you were here.
Yes, I prayed about it. We got some feedback, spoke to a lot of people, and we decided to move ahead.
Good for you.
So we'll be running a paper Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, starting 20th of January. It's about a week and a half from now. And it's because there was so much material that I was unable to cover. I'm always in the finance, but there were no finance sections because there's not enough space. So what we're going to do, we're going to have different days for different topics.
Okay.
And keep them that. So if you're interested in finance, you know what day to go and look for it. And the reason is that the paper has to be read. Newspapers have to. That's my focus. I'm not going to be in newspaper business if people are not reading it. So I have to find something that people want to read. And it's already free, and it will remain free, by the way. So therefore, if you have a free paper on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I want you to pick it up, because there's going to be something in it every day that you have to get in touch with.
Yeah.
And it's not just news, because there's news all around, but there's specific specials that we want people to get involved with.
Right.
So we was looking at, of course, gas prices, one of the big ones, the cost of living, economy,
Big one.
economy, employment, we want housing, mortgages. So we're going to touch all those hot topics that people want to hear about, what's happening, even development. And we started to think, focus on development. Like I wrote, and I read it over some time ago, a boom for whom? Got some feedback from it, you know, but it touched a nerve. Because we looked around all this development, this high rises, 10 stories. I mean,
who are they for?
A lot of it's happening. You know,
You and I can't afford them.
right now, backyards, you drive down the road, and where we used to see beach and water, we don't see that anymore.
No, they're erecting huge walls.
And many other things.
Yep.
So, you know, development is good, and I'm all for development. And I could say which side of the port I am, but I wouldn't talk about it right now. But I like to develop. I would like to grow. But for whom?
Fair and balanced.
It has
for
to-
everyone. Accessible for all.
And we cannot marginalize our own people. They have to be up front and center, not behind us. They have to be there. You can't develop a country and don't have the natives involved. That's not going to happen. Eventually, you're going to be in a caged environment where you're looking out from behind bars. We have to continue to develop our country with the people of the country, and they have to be upfront and central.
Everything that you have said there leads to one phrase, and I will challenge you to Google it and research it some more. Laissez-faire capitalism. You're in tune to Radio Cayman's Business Buzz. I'm your host, Sabrina Turner, as we put the spotlight on Caymanian Times newspaper with Mr. Ralph Lewis. We'll take a break, and when we come back, we'll get some more from Mr. Lewis.
Oh gosh.
Don't let the stress of taking care of loved ones get you down.
Home care, now made easier with Cayman Medical Supplies. 100% Caymanian owned. Cayman Medical Supplies now stocks a wide range of home care supplies. Hospital beds, all types of wheelchairs, including beach access wheelchairs, lifts, commodes, shower chairs, walkers, Curad brand orthopedic supplies. Free blood glucose monitors with the purchase of 1 pack of test strips, blue underpads, and a whole lot more.
Need home care convenience? Drop by Cayman Medical Supplies at 93 Smith Road, Windward Center, or call 949-6211. Free delivery.
We are Radio Cayman, and this is how we wake you up. Praise time on Radio Cayman.
Are you ready? Here we go. Set. I feel like running, skipping, running. Feel like skipping.
Praise time.
Jesus in the morning. I will. So send me, Lord. I will go.
Weekday mornings from 6 until 6:30.
Preventing dengue is as simple as preventing mosquito bites. Use a mosquito repellent, wear protective clothing, and stay indoors during early dawn and dusk when mosquitoes are most active. Control the places around you where mosquitoes breed. Remove stagnant water in outdoor and household settings. As a weekly habit, persons should change the water in vases, clear the water in saucers under potted plants, and ensure air conditioner drip trays are free of stagnant water. Outdoor objects capable of holding water should be kept empty and preferably disposed of or put into dry storage if not used. These include open bottles and tins, watering cans, buckets, empty paint tins, and old vehicle tires. Do your part to control the spread of dengue. The dengue virus is an infectious disease transmitted through mosquito bites. Symptoms may come on as early as 4 days or as late as 3 weeks following an infection. There is no vaccine or specific medication to treat dengue. Symptoms of dengue include high fever, headache, pain behind the eyes, joint and muscle pain, and rash. If persons have any of these symptoms, they should go to the nearest health center or hospital. It is advised to drink lots of liquids and avoid medication that contains aspirin.
Welcome back to the Business Buzz, the business topics that matter, an insightful and fresh take on a variety of issues that impact the local business environment. Business Buzz.
Back to the Business Buzz. I'm your host, Sabrina Turner, and in studio with me, I'm pleased to be joined by Mr. Ralph Lewis, owner and publisher of Caymanian Times, as we revisiting big news stories for 2019. We're dabbling into what is forecasted to be big headlines for 2020, and pretty much revisiting his journey as to how he's pretty much evolved. And now he's made an announcement, as usual, right here on the Business Buzz and Radio Cayman, for his paper being available now 5 days a week as of the 20th of January. How fitting. 20 January 2020.
Yes. It's a long journey, and if I was to write it, it'd be a nice story. Probably I'll do it sometime. But it was the other step that I had to take for the paper, and because we've designed a world-class newspaper, international style design. And the material, the content has been well accepted, not only locally but internationally. As we know, we had a monocle in UK newspaper, and actually came back again, wanted to know what was my number one story for 2019.
Excellent.
So that's up there someplace. So we recognize internationally. I have some feedback from Miami Herald writers that they're very pleased with the paper. Actually, it's a professor from a university in the US, and he came to visit, and he said, he saw the paper and he's very impressed. So we've gotten some feedback overseas on the quality of the paper, and it's good. It's good. The feedback locally has been tremendous, and so not only with the content, but the appearance and the design and so on. So we've really come a long way, and it's a profitable venture. Two things that make a business good. You have to have good customers that respect you and are loyal to you, and you have to be profitable. And so we have those things in place.
And obviously, you wouldn't have the customers if your product wasn't good.
Right, that's right.
There you go. So when you look at the locations where persons are able to pick up Caymanian Times newspaper, what are a few of those?
We are all across the islands, but as usual, we do things differently. And in East End, Mr. Alan Banks, he gets about 150 papers, and he'll be riding around distributing them, to the district. And we're looking for other people who would like to do the same thing.
That's a win-win. You get your exercise in as well.
We actually we are paying for it. So the idea is to get it available in all the districts, and we do have it from East End to North Side to West Bay to Georgetown and Cayman Bracken, his own little Cayman. But it's to get people in the community who are willing to work a part-time to pick up the papers and take them to those people who can't make it to the pickup points. And because it's free, it's easy to do that. We have a model like what I saw in Santo Domingo. And by the way, the oldest newspaper in the region is in Santo Domingo. And it's over 200 years old and still existing today. They have what they call a depot. So in different areas, there's a big depot. You go there and get your paper.
Okay.
So there's always a supply of papers there. So you advertise where those locations are, you can go and pick it up. And so therefore, that's the idea, to put them in those locations across the island, and people can pick it up. Right now, it's all over, in supermarkets, gas stations. And 2 seconds, we just started advertising our Sunday morning newspaper and coffee. So if you like to have coffee on a Sunday morning, when you go to gas stations, there's always a newspaper there available, a Monday morning newspaper, because our papers come on Saturday night.
Yes.
So we have them out there from Sunday morning early. You can have your coffee and get a free newspaper.
Only Caymanian Times newspaper. Right here on Radio Cayman Business Buzz, giving us a recap is Mr. Ralph Lewis in studio with me. We got to take a break for the 8 o'clock news and weather update. And definitely when we come back, we will be talking a little bit about what can we look forward to in 2020 from the news perspective, and the importance also of giving back to the community. We understand the importance of what that takes in giving back and not being indulged in oneself and just thinking of the me, I. We don't want to go there. But keep it locked to the Business Buzz for more when we come back. Over to you, Susan.
Thank you, Sabrina. And studio time now by Foster's is 8 o'clock.
How about this for a New Year's resolution? Live to eat. Yep, live to eat. Don't just eat to live. Find the balance between going crazy for that indulgently creamy made-from-scratch cake and knowing just how many nuts will make for a good, naturally healthy snack in between meals. Slow down and take in all of the joys of food in your life this year. And live to eat with Foster's. Follow along for tips and more this year as we live to eat in 2020.
Your voice, your choice for today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
With your latest news, I'm Kersley Fuller. The island-wide Green Iguana Call project enters a new year, and as Radio Cayman's Shanda Gallego reports, it's a renewed call for colors to get registered.
Registration renewals get underway this week for the nationwide effort to stamp out the invasive species. Registration will take place at the Georgetown Landfill counting station and will continue for the month. Those wishing to participate are asked to bring proof of Caymanian status and a valid government-issued photo ID, as well as a valid firearms license if they are using an air rifle. Firearms licensing renewals or permits must be obtained from the Royal Cayman Islands Police Service. Registered colors must be at least 18 years old and possesses either Caymanian status or a valid trade and business license. All registered colors must also agree to terms set out in their contracts with the cull management company. Officials say any green iguanas brought in after January 31st, 2020 by colors with expired registration cards would not be accepted. So far, more than 1.12 million green iguanas have been culled since the program started in October 2018. Environment Minister, the Honorable Dwayne Seymour, notes the green iguana cullers did a fantastic job in 2018-2019, eliminating more than 1.1 million of these invasive creatures, but there is still more work to do. He adds Cabinet has agreed to fund this project going into the 2020 year to ensure we don't let the situation get out of hand. Shanda Gallego, Radio Cayman News.
The full breakdown and more information can be found at doe.ky. And on February 26th, the Cayman Islands Agricultural Society will be hosting the annual Ag Show under the theme Agriculture for the Future. Supporting local agriculture is the long-term solution.
What we are trying to do is we're going to ask people to continue to support, because the people has been tremendously supportive and continue to support our local farmers, because this is basically a gateway for the farmers to showcase what we actually produce in the island.
President of the Agricultural Society, George Smith, says this year's agriculture show will also feature more suppliers, and he's encouraging the community to get out early if you're looking to make some plant purchases. In regional news, a 43-year-old man is assisting the police with their investigations after the principal of a preschool was stabbed to death in the full glare of students on Monday in Port of Spain, Trinidad. The authorities said that the principal, later identified as Giselle Phillip, was stabbed several times by a man armed with a sharp object who had entered the school compound. She was taken to the Port of Spain General Hospital, where she was pronounced dead on arrival. Authorities believe the incident may have been an act of domestic violence. Now with a check of international news, here's the BBC, which will take us out of the newscast. I'm Kersley Fuller from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
BBC News with David Austin. More than 30 people have been killed in Iran and nearly 200 injured in a crush within the vast crowd attending the funeral of General Qasem Soleimani. The remains of the commander, killed by a US airstrike on Friday, were being carried through the streets of his home city, Kerman. His burial has now been postponed. Iran's foreign minister, Mohammad Javad Zarif, has said the end of what he called America's malignant presence in the Middle East has begun. Mr. Zarif said a response to the killing of General Soleimani would come when and where it would hurt the United States most. Many people in the Australian state of New South Wales who were evacuated when deadly forest fires hit the area have begun returning to their homes. Nearly 2,000 houses were destroyed in the fires. A British teenager convicted of lying about being raped by a group of Israeli men in Cyprus has been given a 4-month suspended prison sentence. Her lawyer said the sentence imposed would allow the woman to return to the UK. Prosecutors in Japan have issued an arrest warrant for the wife of Carlos Ghosn, the former head of Nissan, who skipped bail in Japan in December and is now in Lebanon. Carol Ghosn, who's also now in Beirut, is accused of lying to investigators. The French government is resuming talks with trade unions more than a month into a national strike over its pension reforms. Oil refineries have begun 4 days of industrial action, but the oil company Total said the protest would have no effect as petrol stations were all well stocked. Those are the latest stories from BBC News.
Stay in touch with Radio Cayman for the latest in news and information.
Follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, www.radiocayman.gov.ky.
Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice, your radio.
Homeowners, enjoy the season of giving with Brit K. It's easy.
Purchase any new home buildings policy, and our gift to you will be a $250 gift certificate and a Ring security camera.
Existing home client? Renew early and be entered in our weekly draw for a $100 gas voucher.
Call 949-8699 today. Brit K, where people come first. Part of Colonial Group International. Terms and conditions apply.
The Weather Report is proudly sponsored by Super Stitch Sewing and Fabric Center, your one-stop household store at 39 Pasador Place, Smith Road. Still offering the best prices in town. Call 949-2833 or go to superstitch.com.ky. New stock has just arrived at Super Stitch. Now don't take my word for it, drop by and see for yourself. Fresh off the boat, we have loads of fabric, vinyl upholstery fabric, fabric for cushions, outdoor fabrics, and dress fabric. That's not all. Super Stitch has sewing accessories and craft items. Included in the new shipment, you will find sheets, comforters, throw pillows, bath mats, rugs, and curtains for every room in your home. Super Stitch, 39 Pasador Place, Smith Road. Still offering the best price in town. Call 949-2833 or go to superstitch.com.ky.
Pleasant good morning. Time to take a look at the latest weather report. Current temperature is 79 degrees. Relative humidity is 75%. The barometric pressure at 30.07 inches and rising. The wind is northeast at 7 knots. Overnight low temperature was 75 degrees. Synopsis indicate moderate to fresh northeasterly winds and moderate to rough seas are expected to continue over the next 24 hours. As a ridge of high pressure lingers over the northwest Caribbean. Radar images show no showers over the Cayman area. Now the forecast for today calling for partly cloudy skies with a 20% chance of showers, and temperatures will be in the mid-80s. Your winds will be northeast at 10 to 15 knots with higher gusts, and seas will be slight to moderate with wave heights of 2 to 4 feet, with swells likely along the north and west coast. Forecast for tonight calling for partly cloudy skies with a 20% chance of showers. Temperatures dipping to the mid-70s tonight. Winds will be north to northeast at 15 to 20 knots, and seas will be slight to moderate with wave heights of 2 to 4 feet for tonight. High tide in just a minute at 8:14, low tide this afternoon at 2:15, and a high tide again tonight at a minute after 7. Sunset a minute after 6 tonight, and sunrise will be tomorrow morning at 7:01. And the outlook is calling for an increase in winds and seas from tomorrow morning as a cold front moves over the northwest Gulf of Mexico. Also, a small craft warning is expected to be in effect from tomorrow afternoon as wave heights are expected to increase even further through Wednesday night. That's the very latest on your weather report.
Superstitch Sewing and Fabric Center was the proud sponsor of the Weather Report, your one-stop shop for all of your household items, craft items, jewelry, beads, and decorations, and much more. Call Superstitch at 949-2833 or email customer care at superstitch.com.ky. New stock has just arrived at Super Stitch. Now don't take my word for it, drop by and see for yourself. Fresh off the boat, we have loads of fabric, vinyl upholstery fabric, fabric for cushions, outdoor fabrics, and dress fabric. That's not all. Super Stitch has sewing accessories and craft items. Included in the new shipment, you will find sheets, comforters, throw pillows, bath mats, rugs, and curtains for every room in your home. Super Stitch, 39 Pasador Place, Smith Road. Still offering the best price in town. Call 949-2833 or go to superstitch.com.ky.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Planning a meeting, event, or office celebration? Visit subway.ky to place your catering order today.
Good morning. Once again, let's take a look at what's happening on our roads, traffic-wise. Busy traffic on Linford Pearson Highway. Slight delays expected as you're headed out to Georgetown. Coming off of Bobby Thompson Way, steady traffic. Steady traffic on Crew Road. And looking towards Godfrey Dixon Way and Eastern Avenue, traffic flowing at a good pace. And moderate flow of traffic in and out of Georgetown on Shed Road. And on Edward Street, traffic is flowing moderately. On the West Bay Road, in front of the Ritz, traffic is moderate in both directions. Light traffic on Owen Roberts Drive. And that's your latest on your traffic. Join us again. At about 10 minutes after 12, we'll give you another traffic report. Remember, click it or ticket. Have a good morning.
Do you ever have those days when you have to get a super early start? Or you're out late and want something fresh and healthy to eat? Subway has now opened their 4th 24-hour location for you early birds and night owls. Subway at West Shore Center on 7 Mile is now open 24 hours. So now you can grab any of Subway's fresh menu items any time of the day at 4 convenient locations. West Shore Center 7 Mile, Countryside in Savannah, Anderson Square in Georgetown, and Centennial Towers West Bay. Subway. Eat fresh.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Planning a meeting, event, or office celebration? Visit subway.ky to place your catering order today.
Welcome back to the Business Buzz, the business topics that matter, an insightful and fresh take on a variety of issues that impact the local business environment. Business Buzz.
Welcome back to the Business Buzz. It is proudly sponsored by Cayman Medical Supplies and Cayman Insurance Center. I'm your host, Sabrina Turner, as we keep the spotlight in our second segment on Caymanian Times newspaper. And if you're just joining us, we at the beginning of our show, we revisited with Mr. Ralph Lewis, who is the publisher and owner of Caymanian Times, big news stories for 2019 and forecast what will be the headlines he feels for 2020. And we also touched on news for the Caymanian Times, and on January 20th, 2020, the Caymanian Times will be available 5 days a week. Mr. Ralph Lewis, again, it is a pleasure to have you continued on with me for this first Business Buzz for this new decade. Thank you so much again.
And it's always good to be here. And just call me anytime.
Yeah, we know you've saved us a lot of times. You're a producer's best friend, right, Susan?
You know, when you know what you're doing and know what you're talking about, particularly with business.
Right.
If you don't know your business, you can't manage your business. You can't be successful.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to live it. And I always say there's no boss in business. You have to be in it and do it to make it work. And so I was able to start from scratch and grew with it for 7 years. So I know what I'm on. I know what I'm doing. I know where I'm going as well.
No, definitely. Now, what are some ways that your newspaper gives back to the community? And then after that, we're going to go into the meat of things about, the letters to the editor, how that works. How do you go into writing and shaping concept of a story, the importance of photos. And again, we want to also understand that although you have a paper that people think is dying, because of social media, websites, and just people needing it now and then, you have been able to not only grow your product to keep the traditional newspaper, but you're also delved into and embraced the speed of light in disseminating the information out there to people.
And whatever you do, you have to do it to the best of your ability. You have to be creative. You have to find ways of being different. Mm-hmm. And you have to be brave in making decisions and trying things. And thank God I was able to do a couple of those things. But just to step back to answer one of the questions, what do we do for the community? From the time I started, I wanted to give back. So even when I was losing money in the paper, I was always giving awards at the graduation of the high schools.
Yes.
And I remember the first time I did it, I gave away a laptop and a trophy and a printer. And I'm looking around the room and everyone was giving us a trophy and a little envelope. And like, what am I doing? I'm like, over $1,000 for a small company. So I learned to step back a bit. Anyway, we still give an award and a prize, a cash prize now at the graduations for all high schools every year. Of course, the paper is free and it will be free. There's no cost for the paper. But we also give death announcements free in our newspaper. We always is. There are times when people are mourning when you lost someone. And just a little token of, okay, I can have the announcement in your newspaper for free is a breath of fresh air.
Yes.
And those little things make a difference in people. And I've been there, I've lost my wife years ago, so I understand the feelings. And so, when you're grieving, just something like that helps you. The announcement's going to be done and you don't worry about it. So
exactly.
we have the announcements free. And, we do some, stories for for non-profit organizations. They call me and said, Ralph, can you advertise this in your in your paper, and or you can write up a story, and we do those things because you have to engage the community and give back to the community.
That's right. Now let's talk a little bit about the letters that you may receive to the editor and pretty much how does that work?
Okay, we've called that community voice, and we keep encouraging the community to speak out. We encourage you to send an email to me, and we ask that you're respectful in your writings, and we do edit them and we do review them. But we contact you and let you know what we're going to publish. But anyone can send a letter or email to info@KimanianTimes.ky on topics that they feel.
Right.
We also put them on our website. And actually, the 3 top stories actually are community voice stories. If you go on the website, you'll see them. But people are now starting to write stories in, and they're getting some feedback. So we encourage that, and anyone can send them in.
Now let's look about the writing, shaping a concept into a story, news stories, editing. How does this all compiled? How does it come into fruition so that I can digest it and understand?
Some people ask me, Ralph, how you do this thing? So with such a small complement of staff. And it takes about maybe 4 hours to put the paper together. And sometimes I wake up in the morning and there's no stories for my paper. By half day, I have 10, 12 stories.
Wow.
I have a number of writers that I trust, and they're in the community, and they keep writing and sending articles to me on a regular basis. We have agencies that send press releases to me, but we also want to be feeling the pulse of the community. And there are times when you get an idea, you wake up in the morning and you have an idea, and you start to put pen to paper. And as a writer, that's how it should be. It's like writing a song. It comes from inside.
Yes.
And you start writing, and that's how it happens. And so therefore, there are topics that just pop out of the sky, and there are things that, you want to be different. The events that are happening, of course, there's an accident up the road, there's a fire pole, a lamp pole on fire. There are things that happen around us. But we try to get the other areas that people are not really seeing. And yes, we report on the police news and that sort of thing. But of course, there are things that we like to write about that's happening. So within the arts festivals, of course, there's the Cayman Cookout coming, and then the agricultural show coming up, and a number of things happening that we like to not only cover those events, but cover about them.
Yes, go in depth.
Yes.
So you understand.
Yes. So you will see us starting to bring up some of those old agricultural show articles that we wrote, and flashback and sort of remind people this is what we did last year, 5 years ago, and
or the days that it was out what people may know as the Cricket Oval.
That's right.
That there was no Linford Pearson bypass, and there wasn't no Esterly Tibbetts Highway here. There was no this whole extension here by the Glass House was a dead end. And there was a footpath, pretty much.
That's right. Actually,
and you had to pray it didn't rain, because then the cricket field was mucky.
Exactly. And actually, we've just our latest series of Then and Now, the first three stories are agriculture. And the first story comes out in tomorrow's paper. It's written by Lindsay Turnbull. She did a series for me. But it's on Then and Now agriculture. And it's a mainstay of the community. And it's amazing when you read a story about agriculture in Cayman from so far back. And bring it to date. It's amazing to see where we've come from and where we can go. So that's how we look at things. And they say, where you come up with those ideas? It's just by keeping your finger on the pulse, talking to people, listening to people, hear what people want to read about, and putting together, getting a team together.
I'll plant another little nugget maybe. I remember the days of Family Fair Day out in town.
Right, exactly.
That has just vanished pretty much.
That's right.
Where's Family Fair Day? It says so much for what we're fighting to get back.
Yes.
And they're saying revitalizing of Georgetown, but going back to the simple things, a simple day of Family Fair Day
it
says so much.
Family is important. And family is not just a brother and sister and mother. Family is the people around you.
Correct.
You know, those that you go to school with is from day to day.
Yeah.
You know, we live in a neighborhood sometimes. We don't know who our neighbors are.
You don't know who's next door to you because your hours are totally off.
That's right. But then you don't even talk to your neighbors.
No.
Someone moves into a neighborhood or into the building that you know.
Didn't even know.
And you don't even know.
No.
And that's scary. You know, you don't come out at Christmas time. We used to walk around and share food.
Like Susan just got a nice little GIF in there. And for those of you who are streaming, I did a thumbs up. There's cassava cake in the building. There goes your diet.
I'm trying to. My New Year's resolution. I know it's okay.
Yes, but when you look at it
Yes.
from the 360 perspective, and it is so robotic. Everything is done with on a social media from a smart device. We have taken back. We need to take back and get back the original way.
Yes.
Embracing someone wholeheartedly and not misreading, which again, hey, red flags do stand up, but you'll know when it's coming from a good place.
Yes.
But what we're trying to say is go back to the days where everyone loved everyone.
Yes.
We were all one happy community and we all got along.
It makes the community safer. And we may have people say that, okay, well, 50% of our residents are not even Caymanians.
But that don't mean anything. They're living next to you.
They are part of the community.
Exactly.
They have been given rights to be here. And so therefore, they're part of the community, whether we like it or not. They're already here. So we have to find a way of embracing them or talking to them. I would love to know who's living next to me. So I'm going to go next door and knock on the door and say, welcome to the neighborhood. If there's anybody suspicious, I'm going to know at that point in time. So I can sleep better at night. But it's about that family. Cayman is small. We are a very small community. If you go to one of those football games in the States, you have over 60,000 people.
That's pretty much our island.
So what I'm saying is we're not that large. We're still small. So we can still have a family affair here.
Exactly. And we want to bring that back. So then and now, now is the question, who's going to take up the mantle? People only need hope.
I agree.
This is Radio Cayman's Business Buzz that is proudly sponsored by Cayman Medical Supplies. Give them a call, 949-6211. And Cayman Insurance Center, celebrating 45 years in the Cayman Islands, specializing in property, life, and other lines of insurance products and services. We'll keep it locked to the Business Buzz for more. After these few messages, we'll keep the spotlight and hear more from Caymanian Times newspaper, understanding a little bit about how social media, artificial intelligence, will it affect his continuity or will it enhance his product and services? You got to keep it locked to the Business Buzz for more after these messages.
Cayman Medical Supplies, now providing Cayman Brac with medical supplies. Call 949-6211. And Cayman Medical Supplies will arrange to ship from wheelchairs and walkers to all kinds of medical supplies. Your order will be shipped to you either by Cayman Airways or Thompson Shipping for one agreed upon price. Telephone 949-6211. Cayman Medical Supplies, located at number 93 Smith Road, Windward Center, providing quality pharmaceuticals, medical supplies, and consumer products to healthcare providers, retailers, and ultimately the patients at a reasonable rate in a friendly, caring, and timely manner.
Don't take chances with your family's future or your valuable assets. Always be prepared and ensure your family is provided for. Cayman Insurance Center specializes in life, property, motor, health, and liability at the most competitive premiums and affordable rates on island. Call Michael Webster today at 925-5433 for life insurance or Denise Brown at 814-7229 for property insurance. Call them today for all your insurance needs.
Welcome back to the Business Buzz, the business topics that matter, an insightful and fresh take on a variety of issues that impact the local business environment.
Business Buzz, yes, I'm your host Sabrina Turner, and topics that matter. I was saying Turner and topics all in one. It's a new decade. Give me a break. It is a pleasure to be back, and exciting things for Caymanian Times moving forward in this new decade. Excellent growth for you now, having a paper that will be out 5 days a week as of the 20th of this month, and all the topics that are being featured. I'm giving you nuggets of inspiration for those as well. If persons want to advertise in your newspaper, Mr. Lewis, how can they get in contact with you?
The easiest way is 916-2000. I work 24/7. Or you can email me at sales@caymaniantimes.ky.
Now, understanding the importance of getting information out there with smart devices that are very, very smart, recording devices, video cameras, and all that sort of stuff, sometimes what people find in printed media is, in today's world, stale news, because we get it pretty much as it happens. How are you able to create and strike that balance that still makes your paper relevant and not dubbed stale news because it's printed?
Social media complements printed newspaper. And you could say vice versa, we complement social media. Yes, the traditional newspaper, the way it was, has been upgraded. And that's for reasons. There's breaking news and there's news. So we have gotten accustomed to social media where we want it right away.
News.
And there's fake news. But what that has done is opened up ourselves to a lot of distractions, a lot of fake news, as we call it, a lot of things that we don't really want to be involved in. And then on top of that is a platform for advertising that is overloaded.
Right.
Everybody wants to go to... So what you have is like, remember, like looking into a newspaper years ago, and the first 4 pages was ads, and people like, is this all ads? It's happening now, but at a greater scale. It's pop-ups and flashes stuff.
Yeah.
So you go to, you're reading a story, and all of a sudden it's flashing all over. There's distractions. So you're losing some of the story. Like you go to Facebook and it's scrolling down. So people are realizing that, hold on, this is going too fast, and they may want to slow down. To answer the question about the breaking news, people want more in-depth stories that are not time-sensitive. We can read a story about Brexit, about the Prince's visit last year, today. And there are a number of things that people did not know. For example, what's the reaction of the people after he left?
How has he embraced?
So you can can write the story as it breaks, or you can write the real story after it's break. And that's what people love to read. You know, there's a fire on a pole. Now, you don't know what caused it because you just report it.
There's a lot of speculation around, but what is the truth? What
After
caused it?
you hear from CUC and all those places, now you can put a real story together. You can't write the story 3-4 times. So you can have that breaking news on social media, but in the paper now you have a real story that, yes. And honestly, if you want to read about news, you want to read a real story and more in depth. You want to educate yourself on what really happened, what causes it happening, what's been done to prevent it from happening again. And that's where the printed media comes into play. And that's why people will always pick it up. And that's why our people don't stay in the stands.
Now, with obviously a demand in your product that has allowed you now to expand the days of distribution from what it was to 5 days a week, what will be the average of newspapers that you print weekly?
Well, we did about 5,000 per day, and that can increase or that can decrease depending on demand and the pickup. We don't want to overload, the stands and people, because if you have a paper today, there's a new one tomorrow.
Exactly.
Not everybody's going to go to this
what is deemed
the same
old.
day. So therefore, that will adjust accordingly, and it takes time to fine tune how much
demand.
How much demand is.
Right.
But we're printing at a location where they can print 20,000 papers in 1 hour. So that's not a problem. And Kemanay was happy to fly them in for us.
Excellent.
So we have access to multiple cupboards if we need it. But at the same time, we don't want to be dumping paper. So we will get that ideal amount that the readers will want. Then, of course, we're the only newspaper that have our actual paper on our website. So if you want to read the paper as it is printed, you can just go to the website and it's right there in a PDF format as well.
So you're not excluded from having it accessible on any smart devices?
No, it's right there. Just that it's not a story, but a whole newspaper. You can scroll down through it the same way you'll flip the pages. So we have it online as well as in print. And if you went to the stand and you didn't find it, you could always go to the office and get a copy, or you could go online and see it. So we have options available.
And tell people where those offices, or where your office is located.
It's number 19 Walkers Road, right across from Winner Circle and next to Tomlinson Furniture.
Now, I know we dabbled into this a little bit from 2020, but we, for 2020 and what we see the vision for, but we were more focusing on the topics.
Yes.
But looking at your organization, vision forward for 2020 Caymanian Times. There's always something up your sleeve. You're always breaking it here. So there's nothing wrong with me trying to tap into moving or pushing the fast forward button with you, Mr. Lewis.
Okay. There's no standing still. You're either moving forward or backwards. And I believe in moving forwards. You always have to look at the future, what the demands are. You have to look at yourself, what your abilities are. I'll be 60 in 2 months. So I didn't realize I was getting there.
I guess you'll play for your own big 60th birthday.
So I have to think about, all right, am I ready to retire and take it easy? Who's going to take over the newspaper? But I love music, and I love news, and I love radio. I'm here today, and I always wanted to have a radio station at some point. So I think that's going to be on the horizon.
I'll tell you so. Radio station. Susan, tidy up your resume. I didn't say it.
You asked me. To be honest.
That's what we love about you, because you break and you leave these little nuggets. The next time you're saving us in here, I'm quite sure. Well, whatever date, 10 whatever it's gonna be.
So that's where DJ Ralph will come back out of retirement.
Excellent.
I'll be online in your airwaves, in your cars, rather than in the other places where I was years ago. But music is, key to me. I mean, it really helped me through a lot of my life. If people know me, they know I was a DJ as well as a bank manager at the same time.
Right.
And things, I used to do karaoke and all those kind of things. So music is part of me. And believe me, I enjoy listening to music coming into work. It does so much for the individual.
Right. It does.
And so, if you... music makes you whole, in a sense. And so I'm going to be able to combine the music with the media, the news, and we'll see how that works out.
And I hope you're able to keep it fair and balanced, which is important for your line of work.
Of course it will.
Any closing words? What would you like to leave with our listening and viewing audience today? I know we covered a lot of ground. We've always gone over our topics because that's how easy it is to speak with you, hence your frequent appearances on the Business Buzz.
I always like to give advice to business owners as it's a business buzz. And I would say never give up. If you know my journey, you'd understand that, it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy to get to this stage. I saw Mr. Norman Bodden some time ago in the bank, and he said, Ralph, I admire your tenacity. He understood the journey. You don't give up. There are many options I could have taken at that point in time, but you don't know what the future will hold. You have a dream, you have a goal, you stick with it, and you can do anything in life. You might say, well, there's enough salons in the Cayman Islands, and if I do a new one, I'm not going to be successful. You could change what people conceive of a salon to be. You could be creative, but if you have a dream, and what I would like to say, if you're going to retire, and we all will be, you need to start looking for a business of your own.
Yes.
Because your pension is not going to be enough to carry you through.
Well, the way to cost of living right now, that's not even a drop in the
So
bucket.
we encourage people to start thinking of your own business. It doesn't have to be a newspaper, but start thinking of some way you can make your own money and generate something. Build something that your family can have that can help supplement the income, that sort of thing. So don't think that you can't have a business of your own. Think of a business of your own, but understand that the journey will be there to go through, and believe in yourself, and you can do anything you want to do. That's what I have to say.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ralph Lewis. Always a pleasure chatting with you and keeping us up to date with all that's happening with the Caymanian Times. I want to wish you a happy, happy new year and a very fulfilling and fruitful 2020. I think you're well on your way. And great things are in store starting out just again with the 20th of January this year.
Yes.
And I'm looking forward to be the one or the source to definitely assist in getting it out there as to when this radio thing, your dream, your station will come online. Again, all success to you. And it's a pleasure to have you here with us and allowing us to put the spotlight on your Caymanian Times newspaper. All the best.
Thank you, too. A very happy new year to you.
Thank you. To your listening and viewing audience, we want to thank you for continuing with us in this new decade of 2020. It is indeed my pleasure. And we want to thank our sponsors, definitely, for sticking by us. And that is none other than Cayman Medical Supplies and Cayman Insurance Center. Starting off a new decade with our producer, Ms. Susan, who's still busy behind the scenes making these shows possible and securing our guests. And to you, our viewing and listening audience, you come up to me all the time out there on the road at various places. I want to thank you for the great words of encouragement and inspiration that you give me that makes it possible for me to continue in this journey and on this job. Thank you so much. Until Thursday, have a safe and fabulous Tuesday.
Shaken yet standing firm. This is Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.